Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Military Spouse to Millionaire. Today, we're going to be talking about buyer etiquette. And I don't bring up these things to make it seem like or make buyers out there feel like I'm coming for them, but I really genuinely think that there's just some things that buyers do, or consumers in general do, that because they don't know the inner workings or behind the scene practices that go on in any industry, that it could be beneficial to me as an agent to give this education and for you as a consumer to maybe hear me out on a few of these things. And if you end up doing them, it's not like it's the end of the world, but I would just like for people out there to know these things. Let's just jump right into it because as I was making this list, I was like, there are like more of these than I thought. I started out with like three and then the list kind of got out of control. So, first and foremost, last minute or additional showings when we are out house hunting. So, a lot of times when we're out house hunting, people will get notifications from the MLS or they'll be doing kind of their own searching in the car as we're driving from property to property. And then we'll get to a property and they'll say, hey, this house just popped up on my search, or, oh, hey, can we go see this property? And this isn't annoying. It's fine. Like, I will absolutely take you to any house you want to go see, but expecting that we can just tack it on to an already existing showing day and just assuming that you can do that is not always possible for a lot of reasons. Number one, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but I might have another appointment after you, or I might have another obligation that I have to get to in my day after you. I definitely want all my clients to feel like they're the only clients I have, and they definitely are of huge, huge importance to me without question. But there are also some times where I have three different families booked into one day, and I just block it out maybe 2 or 3 hours with each family, and I have to account for drive time. So, unfortunately, no, we're not always able to add on showings because I might have other obligations. And again, that's not meant to feel, make you feel unimportant, but that is the reality of just I might have a doctor's appointment, I might have a client meeting, I might have a phone call, I have other obligations that I may have already committed to based on the time that I already allotted for you guys and what, the house hunting process for that day. Another reason that we might not be able to add on or just throw in an additional showing is the listing itself might not allow for it. So if you have a property and it's owner occupied, they will sometimes request 8 to 24 hours notice to do a showing because it's a little unrealistic for me to call an agent and say, hey, I know you have a whole family living there and I don't know what they have going on, but can they get out of their house so we can show it? Even a very motivated seller, it's just not, a very kind practice. It's just not something that's done. It's kind of rude. So we like to at least give a few hours notice if we can. If a property is tenant occupied, so there's a renter living in the property, by law, we have to request 48 hours in advance. Now, there are some occasions where tenants are super flexible and I can sometimes get away with maybe only 24 hours notice, but basically what I'm trying to say is unless a property is vacant, we need to give some sort of heads up, at least a few hours. If a property is vacant and you show it to me and I'm like, yeah, I got nothing going on after this, or I have a few hours until my next appointment and it's vacant, or if there are notes saying that it's okay to show on short notice, you guys, I'm your Huckleberry. We will go. It's not a matter of not wanting to show you the house. It's just a matter of don't expect that you can just add in extra showings and it's going to be like, yeah, no problem. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. And I just like to set the expectation of what's going on behind the scenes as to why it may or may not be easy to do or okay to do. The next thing that I'll sort of go into, just because we're kind of talking about showing windows and times and time slots, when we're going through a showing day, you guys, hopefully it feels like to you as a consumer, hopefully it feels like you're just being shuttled and ferried through these houses and you don't feel rushed and there's no awkward gaps in between the showings. You guys, I want you to know that behind the scenes, whether you're working with me or you're working with a different agent, it is a masterfully choreographed dance. Getting showings scheduled in a way that results in being able to enter property after property after property without going over your showing window or being too early for your showing window. And then we're like standing awkwardly outside of the house, like, oh, we can't go in yet, is an art form. And it is something that I really pride myself on and I love. Nothing makes me happier than choreographing an artfully executed showing day where we see 8 properties and it's just like boom, boom, boom. That being said, we only have a certain amount of time in each home. Again, keeping in mind that this is a little more fluid if the property's vacant, but if it's owner occupied or if it's tenant occupied, basically if someone is still living there, we as an agent, I have to request when I submit a showing time request for a property, I have to tell them how long we plan to be in the home. And that's so showings don't overlap. That's so tenants or owners know when they have to get out of the house, when they can return to the house, things like that. Normally, I request 30-minute blocks of time for a showing. So if we are showing up at a property at 2, we have until 2:30 to leave the home. However, if we're running a little bit late from our previous showing and we get there at 2:10 or 2:15, that means we only have like 15 or 20 minutes in that home. And I do it in 30-minute blocks of time because I have found that it's reasonable enough. Like we're not asking a seller to be out of their house for a whole hour, but it's a little more grace for us as the shoppers, as the buyer side, to give us enough time that if we do spend an extra long time at the previous property, or if there's traffic, or we have a hard time finding the property or whatever, 30 minutes normally gives us enough of a buffer to, even if we're 10 minutes late, to get into the house, to have adequate time there to see the house so that you never feel rushed. That being said, we can't spend an hour just chilling in a house. I understand if you really like it. I understand if we, stand around and talk and you have questions. And I'll normally like gently guide people if I see that we're running short on time or we're coming to the end of our showing window, which, side note, if you see me checking my phone like for the time or you see me checking a watch, please don't think that I'm looking at my watch like, God, when is this going to be over? I am making sure that we are still on track, you guys. I am making sure that we are still within our showing window, that we're going to make our next showing time okay, that we're not going over the block of time that I have committed in my calendar for these showings to make sure that I'm not missing a next appointment. There's a lot of logistics that go on in my day-to-day life in general, but in showings specifically. So please don't think that I'm looking at it like, God, when is this going to be done? Absolutely not the case. I'm just making sure that we're still on track. So again, that you feel like you're having the best experience possible. So if we're running short on time and I know our showing window's empty or ending and the house is empty, fine, we can stay and chill. Sometimes we sit on the staging furniture and we do like a sit test and we really get the feel for a house. Totally fine if the house is vacant. But if I know that in 8 minutes, the seller is coming home to that property, I might gently say, hey, let's step outside and keep talking, or hey, we have to get on to our next showing. Let's talk in the car, or something of that nature. And again, not meant to rush you or stop the conversation, just being respectful of the people who live in the home and the fact that they're going to be coming home soon. So that's all that is about. Another good buyer etiquette thing, and it's not only an etiquette thing, but here in Hawaii, it's a big cultural thing. We're going to be taking off our shoes. And anybody who house hunts with me will get a cute little house hunting 101 slide that I send to you guys before our first day of house hunting. And this is one of the things that I mention on that slide. And that is to remove your shoes. Be prepared to remove your shoes at any property we go to. And even if you're house hunting on the mainland, and the cultural aspect of removing your shoes isn't there as much. It's just good common practice, guys. You're going into someone else's home, take off your shoes. Here in Hawaii, removing your shoes is very much a cultural thing. So just wear easy on off shoes and be expecting that. Let's talk about a somewhat sensitive topic next. And again, I'm not coming for you and I'm not coming for your kids. I know house hunting with kids isn't always easy. It is a very kid-friendly experience. I encourage my clients to bring their kids. I love kids. I put car seats in my car so we can all ride together a lot of the time, so we can chat as we're driving from house to house. So I'm not coming for the kids. Whether the property is vacant, empty, staged, being lived in, by an owner, by a tenant, that is someone else's home. That is someone else's property. Your kids do not need to be jumping on the air mattresses or bouncing around on the couches or taking things out of the cupboards. And I know it can be difficult when you're trying to pay attention to the house and to me and to all the things and the kids are getting into stuff. I know it can be a lot to multitask that. And I am happy to help in any way I can. I will hold kids. I'll help distract kids. Whatever. I bring snacks in a little baggie that I give to you on day one of house hunting that has like snacks and treats and, things to distract the kids if we need. I'm here to help. But we do need to all, as mindful adults in someone else's home, we need to make sure that the kiddos are appropriately entertained or distracted or being corralled. Maybe we stick them outside in the backyard and we stand out there and we talk for a little while so they can run around. But we also, again, just need to be mindful of keeping the kids in check and distracted and appropriately entertained while we're house hunting. A lot of times if I'm house hunting with a husband and wife or a couple of any kind, sometimes if the kids are napping or the kids are kind of at the end of their house hunting rope, one parent will stay in the car with the kids, we'll run in, look at it, and then they'll swap so the kids can just sort of chill in the car if they're in a happy space out there. So there are definitely ways and tips and tricks and tools that I have to help you guys navigate that. And most parents are honestly so good about this and so aware and so, understanding. But I just thought I'd mention it because we are talking about buyer etiquette. So just make sure that we keep track of those little kiddos. And that kind of feeds right into the next thing that I mentioned. Just be respectful that we're in somebody else's house, especially if it's occupied. It is totally normal and acceptable and even encouraged. Look in the closets, look in the garage, peek in the pantry, check out the storage. I mean, you're looking at purchasing this home and it is a very, very large investment and you should look in every nook and cranny and space. It is all fair game to look at. You should look. However, there is a difference between looking and snooping. We're not actually going to go to the point where we're like taking people's things out of their medicine cabinets or out from underneath the sink or out of their closets. But generally speaking, people know when they're listing and selling their homes that a byproduct of that process is people are going to be looking not through your stuff, but people are going to be looking in your closets. People are going to be looking in your kitchen cabinets. We're not going to be taking out food or things like that. But it is okay to open up everything and look in everything, but just be mindful and respectful. Let's talk about credits. And this has less to do with house hunting and is more applicable for kind of once we're in transaction. Let's pretend that we find the right house, you offer on the house, we ask for a $20,000 credit to buy down your interest rate and cover your closing costs, and the sellers give it to you. Hooray, this is fantastic. But then we do the home inspection and there are some minor things that come up on the home inspection that are not hazard or safety related, but you feel like you want to ask for them to be addressed anyways, and you're fine with asking for a credit and you want to request another $2,000 credit for these non-hazard or safety related things. You guys, real talk, you're probably not going to get that credit. And that's because the seller is already giving you a healthy amount of credit. And like I talked about in my other podcast episode, credit means cash. Like it's just another word for cash or money or, whatever you want to call it. It's actual money. It is not monopoly money. It is coming from the seller's profit. And if they're already giving you $15,000 or $20,000 to do things like buy down your interest rate or cover your closing costs, it's not insulting, but it's far-fetched to think that they would then give you additional credits for really anything else, unless it's like a major hazard or safety related issue. I like to be very upfront with my buyers that asking for more credit is, you can ask for anything you want, but you're not likely to get it. So just, again, be reasonable. This is something that people struggle with, and I don't understand why. You can give negative feedback and still be like polite and kind and constructive. Don't feel like you have to just say gushing great things about every property we go to. Sometimes you just walk into a home and you're like, this isn't my house. Sometimes you walk into a house and for whatever reason, you might not even had it on your radar. It might not be something that you thought you were really going to like, but you might walk in and be like, damn, this is my house. I don't know why, but I love this house. That's great when that happens. But if we go into a house and you don't like something about it, you don't have to go off the chain, but please don't just tell me the good. I want to know the good, the bad, the ugly, what you're liking, what you're not liking, because it allows me to keep it real with you guys. And by now, for my dedicated listeners, for the people who work with me, anybody who follows me on social media, I do my absolute best to keep it 100 all the time. I'm going to keep it real with you. Is it always pretty? Is it always as polite as it could be? No, I'm a real person though. Like I said in the beginning of this podcast, I swear. I use terms or phrases that people might not be thrilled about, but that is me as a person. This is me. Hi. And I like to give you the license and freedom and for you to be comfortable being real with me, which is why I'm real with you. So if you don't like something about a house, tell me for the love of God so I don't keep showing you 10 more houses that have the same shit that you don't like. So just please, just keep it real with me. Tell me what you're not liking so I can manage expectations, because if it's something that you don't like, but it's super common here, again, keeping it real with you guys, I might say, okay, I get it that you don't like it, but that's going to rule out like 90% of the houses that we're going to see. So can you make peace with this thing? Or do you want to look at only 10% of the houses? So I might say that, or I might say, good to know, I'll rule out these, but we can see these and you're going to love them. Like that is how easy it is. And that's how helpful it is. So whether we're seeing houses in person or you're just looking online, for the love of God, just keep it real. Tell me what you're not liking and what you're liking. This one, I'm going to put it in the buyer etiquette category just because so many people that I send my PCS packet to ultimately end up becoming buyers. It is a huge pet peeve of mine, like huge. When people get onto the spouses pages or they reach out to me directly from the podcast or from content I have on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and they reach out to me directly or to the wider internet and they're just like, I'm so stressed out about this move, or help me, I need assistance with this, or I'm so lost, I don't know where to start, or any number of things that people say to initiate contact or to say they want help or to get help. And then help is given, right? I reach out, I start, just kind of like a general small talk dialogue. What are your biggest concerns? When do you get here? Are you more nervous or excited? Like we chat for a minute. Of course, I want to send you my PCS packet. I call it Don't Stress, Just PCS for a reason. It is designed to alleviate your stress. Don't stress, just PCS. I really am here to help with all aspects. However, when people reach out and they say, I'm so stressed, I need help. And then I send them this resource that, you guys, you don't even have to read the thing. It is voice and video recorded. There are slides that have me in a little bubble, like my head in a little bubble at the bottom of the screen. I am talking to you. I'm explaining everything that's on the slide. There are links to COLA calculators. There is links to BAH charts. There's a link to the TLA approved hotel. list. There are links to the agriculture site if you're shipping a pet here. You guys, like, I fucking did the work, okay? And I've already done this move. I put together the most comprehensive and easy to go through tool for you because I'm here to help you. And when I check in with you 3 days later and you're like, no, I haven't had a chance to look through it yet. And then I check in with you a month later and you're like, no, I haven't had a chance to look through it yet. And then when I check in with you 2 months later, after seeing another post on a different spouse's page where you're saying you're stressed out about X, Y, and Z, and I check in with you and say, hey, I saw you post something saying you're still stressed out. Did you listen to the packet? And you say you still haven't listened to it. How stressed out are you really? Look through the material. Look through you listen to the resource. I don't care what you're doing. You could be making dinner. You could be nursing your baby. You could be driving your kids to school. It's video and voice recorded. You just have to listen to it. I'm just saying. I'm here to help you, but you have to do your part. Help me help you. Just click the link and press play, and then you'll have 99% of the answers that you're looking for and a great resource here on Island for any additional questions you have. It's not hard. Okay. In all seriousness, again, this episode was not meant to come for you as buyers in any industry. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes. That's part of what this podcast is about, to sort of pull back the curtain and shed light and give information and answers to people. I want to also kind of go into a specific situation that happened that really is just going to be the cherry on top of the sundae of buyer's etiquette. So it's about communication, because as we go through this process, communication is key. Healthy, effective, genuine communication is important. And this is something that I will be very, I will really, really, really put on my professionalism hat here, because it is such a important topic. People like me and know me because I have sort of this big personality and I'm, in your face and very high energy. But this one, I really want to like bring it down a notch and in all seriousness talk about this. I run a business, you guys, obviously, and I'm very passionate about that. And I do highlight the fact within my business that I am a person. And like I said earlier, I keep it real with you guys and keep it 100%. But you guys also, as consumers, need to exude a level of professionalism. And I think even more so because I only deal with military, and being raised military, married military, as all of you know, my daughter just joined the military. I feel like when I am working with members of the armed forces who put their lives on the line and defend our country, I just naturally expect a higher level of professionalism out of those individuals because of where they're at, what they're doing with their life. The fact that they have chosen to get into a profession that is all about selfless service, at least in my mind, means that they are, I guess, professional in some capacity, or more professional than I would expect from the general public. So to give you a quick backstory, we were in transaction for a family. They were house hunting remotely. They got into contract. We did a video tour of the neighborhood, of the house. We were literally like days away from closing, like probably 7 or 8 days away from closing. And everything had been fine. We went through the home inspection. We did the video tour, like I said. We did all the things. And we had the Thanksgiving holiday. They had just messaged me talking about, like whatever. And I was like, hey, how was your Thanksgiving? They're like, yeah, we saw family. It's going to be fine. I get a message from the wife saying, hey, we want to cancel escrow. These payments are making us nervous. They're more than what we are comfortable with, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, I obviously go into like crisis management mode, because this happens, right? This people get cold feet, people talk to family, especially over the holidays, and family gets in their head a little bit because they don't know the market here. They quite frankly don't know what they're talking about. They might not know anything about the military entitlements that the family's going to be getting. This isn't, I wouldn't say it's common, but I deal with so many people that it's not something that I'm unaccustomed to dealing with. So immediately I go into crisis management mode and I'm like, give me a call. Here's all the things. Here's why you shouldn't be nervous, but this is definitely a phone call conversation. Give me a call. And then I proceed to give her more information or tell her more things or drill down a little bit more as far as like, what's really making you nervous? Is it the closing cost? Is it the payment? We can figure this out, because honestly, Clayton and I have both lessened our commission or renegotiated things if need be to put someone's mind at ease. Like those are things that we're here to do. But again, you have to be transparent and communicative with us. And so I'm sending these messages. They're on East Coast time and it's the afternoon here. So it's evening there. So I am not surprised that I don't hear back from her that day. But obviously I let Clayton know and he starts reaching out to the husband. And it like 2 days goes by and we've sent them multiple messages, nothing back, like nothing, no response at all. Not on Instagram, not on text messages, not with her directly, not with him directly, not in the group chat, no communication. Day 3 finally comes and we're like, are these people alive? Like, what is going on? The appraisal had come back during that time and it came in under value, which again happens. And honestly, that's good for you as a buyer because then we're in a position to renegotiate and get you the house for less money. And I message her that. I'm like, hey, I haven't heard back from you, but I've seen that you've read these messages. Like, please give me a call. Clayton's messaging them. We're on like 4 days, guys, 4 days of not hearing back from them. So finally, I'm like, okay, I don't know what else to do. I'm going to send cancellation. I have my team send the cancellation notice. I'm not shitting you. Within 2 hours, they had both gotten online to their emails and docu-signed the cancellation. Are you kidding me? I've been talking to these people since September, all of September. It was like really the end of August. September, October, November. We're now in December. I am sorry, but as a professional, it is wild to me that these people couldn't man up and at least have a conversation with me and my husband, who have given them so much time. Our teams have given so much time and energy doing this transaction, doing the paperwork. You guys, we are doing work for you. And you don't have the common decency to call me or at least message me back and have the uncomfortable conversation of, for whatever reason, we're just too nervous and we don't want to move forward. That is unacceptable. Be adults. Be grown-ups. You serve in our United States military. I expect better from you. It is absolutely ridiculous. And I have never in my 7 years of doing this had this happen. And I had to call and obviously explain this to the listing agent. And this is someone that I know well. And so I could have a very candid conversation with her. She was even floored. And she's done this longer than me. She's never had this happen. It is unacceptable. You do not just ghost a real estate professional. You don't just ghost anybody who has been in communication with you and helping you through something and working for you for 3 or 4 months and then just stop talking to them without any sort of thank you for your time, but we still want to cancel, or yeah, we can hop on a phone call. And I understand it might have been a little awkward. They might have felt uncomfortable. Awkward and uncomfortable conversations happen sometimes in life, guys, and they especially happen in business. And I'm not trying to seem overly aggressive about this, but it is without question the most egregiously rude thing that has ever happened to me in my professional career. And it's only happened this one time, so I don't feel like I need to be worried about it happening often, but I'm just mind blown. Mind blown that they couldn't even man up enough for one message, one text, one 5-minute phone call, nothing to just say, thank you for these explanations. Thanks for being willing to work with us, but we just want to move on. We just want to cancel. Nothing. They couldn't even do that via text. Unacceptable. So I hope that this has shed some light on a few things that you can do to be a conscientious and, you know, etiquette having buyer. But really, like I said, most people know these things. Most people, it's not a problem. And honestly, house hunting and just the whole process, I try my very best to make it light and fun and enjoyable. But these are good things to keep in mind. And I hope everyone found this helpful. And I look forward to recording another episode for you guys soon. Bye.